I found your talk a bit having hatred particular community. You didn't name that community, but you said like some community, people from some religion, and even you told them as barbarians.
Right.
And you made two statements also.
Yes.
One is that there is like 15 girls from Kerala will go to Syria. Okay, what is that like? And for that you give authentication that it is a groundwork done by some particular person.
Correct.
You name him, who is working with some ashram or some organization.
Right.
And how much is the authenticity?
We don't know.
That organization. No,
Therefore-
that knows the organization.
Yeah, yeah.
And second thing you told about change the demography of Jammu and Kashmir,
Correct.
for which you told that Rohingyas are there and it is with the intention of change the demography.
Correct.
On that I have counter question like I'm from Jammu and Kashmir, for
Yeah.
information, and there are also West Pakistan refugees also.
Right.
So I think it will be better like if would have come on that thing also. And one more thing that you said that like there was a tweet by some person, Taslima Nasreen,
Correct.
who has said that like these are pregnant and will give birth to 7 and 8 children, something like that.
Right.
Like to what extent you can find these statements authentic?
Grateful. I'm very grateful for this question. So I'll answer each of these questions. So I'll actually use the tweet of General Atta Hasnain, who has served in Jammu and Kashmir, who's proud of his faith, and who's very clearly said that Rohingyas are a threat to the security of this country because the stateless people lend themselves as an instrumentality of aggression against India in the hands of anti-Indian agencies. He's made this statement. Now, I assume that as a layperson, someone who has served in the security forces, who has been part of the intelligence apparatus, is certainly better positioned to make these statements than you or me put together. He is working with the organization. Yes, Vivekananda India Foundation. Therefore he is suspect. So everybody is lying. No, my point is, if authenticity is the question, if authenticity is the issue, on what basis do you trust any of the news reports that come about massacre of a certain community in Gujarat? At the end of the day, the affidavits which were filed before the Supreme Court saying that fetuses were ripped, people were killed, all of this was ultimately proved to be a lie. Teesta Setalwad's affidavit even before the Supreme Court turned out to be a lie. So what is the truth? Therefore, if that's the point of view, don't believe any source, and therefore don't form an opinion based on any of these news reports. Go do your own research. If that's the statement that we wish to make, then none of us should form an opinion based on anything that we read. Second, if your question is about West Pakistan and refugees coming from West Pakistan, I'll make a very clear statement because that's the position that we've taken in the Supreme Court in our intervention petition also, seeking deportation of Rohingyas, very clearly saying, India is the natural home for people coming from Indic faiths. If it's a Buddhist or a Jain or a Sikh or a Hindu who comes from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Balochistan, Afghanistan, Canada, or any other place, India is the natural home for these people. I am not saying that this is not the natural home for anybody else, but I certainly have the right to say who this country belongs to as opposed to saying who doesn't belong to this country. Who is supposed to give this right? No, who is supposed to give this right? And have you read the notifications that have come out under the Foreigners Act with respect to who is supposed to get a long-term visa? I'm so sorry. Constitution, as far as India is concerned, is the result of a decision taken by the majority of this country that we will give ourselves this identity. It doesn't take away the identity of this country or the cultural origins of this country. Please understand, it's not just about the majority. No, it's not about the majority. I'm saying a different point. People of all religions and people who don't belong to this country don't have an equal right as far as this country is concerned. Let's be very clear about that. If you're an alien and if you do not belong to this particular country, you do not have the right to expect equal treatment at par with any other citizen. That's the verdict of the Supreme Court. You may have the right to be treated with dignity, but you don't have the right to settle in this country. Secondly, India certainly has the right to take a position that we have always been the home to people belonging to certain faiths, and therefore, if they are persecuted in any other part of the world, this shall be the place where they will find asylum and refuge. Secondly, in fact, thirdly, after 1970 and after the infiltration of refugees and illegal immigrants, after the creation of Bangladesh, you have a live example in front of you where the illegal immigration has resulted in the loss of native cultures, in the loss of indigenous cultures, which the Supreme Court of this country has recognized in 3 decisions. If you want the latest decision, 2014, December 2014, writ petition 562 of 2012, Ranjan Gogoi and Justice Rohington Nariman. Read the decision, and the Supreme Court has recognized the devastating effects of allowing illegal immigrants coming from certain parts, having a certain identity on the land, on the culture of this land. Therefore, if you wish to discuss constitution and constitutional rights, the Supreme Court, the highest constitutional court of this country, has endorsed this position. So read it. Of course, it has taken. Foreigners' tribunals have been constituted. The court has said this categorically, saying between 1961 and 65, over 1 lakh illegal immigrants have been deported from this country. But from 1981 to 85, less than 2,000 people, and in the last 2 years, less than 33 people. Therefore, the court has categorically said that for political reasons, people are not being sent out of this country because they've become vote banks in the hands of parties who are interested in pampering and cultivating them. Therefore, if you wish to really discuss constitution, I would suggest you do a bit more of reading on this particular front. What the court has said with respect to India's identity, let me put it this way. I'll make 3 factual statements, and I'd like to see which of these factual statements can be rebutted. Judaism did not originate in India. Fact or not? Judeo-Abrahamic traditions do not come from India. Fact or not? Buddhism comes from India. Fact or not? Sikhism comes from India. Fact or not? Vedic traditions come from India. Fact or not? Sangam traditions come from India. Fact or not? Charvaka traditions come from India. Fact or not? Can the constitution change history? It cannot. Can the constitution change the history of humanity? It cannot. Can the constitution change and negate the existence of a certain historical experience? It dare not, it cannot, it has not. Therefore, constitution only says that those who live in this country shall be treated equally, but it does not go on to say that the government will not have the right to decide who can enter this country and who cannot. In fact, the constitution clearly says that the government's power under the Foreigners Act of 1946 is supreme, and its right to expel illegal immigrants cannot be interfered with. Yes. And refugees are who? Why not? Why not? So we are supposed to turn a blind eye to the entire experience that the Northeast has gone through for the simple reason that we want to be seen as being equal, and we will put at risk our own existence for illegal refugees. Yes. That's exactly the point. Our problem is not that the government is doing everything. The fact is the government has not done. You go and ask a Bengali and someone who's lived in Bengal, you'll ask him and he'll tell you this thing. Since the 1970s, there has been a state-sponsored policy of giving ration cards and state resources to illegal immigrants coming from the other side of the border. And you ask, and since you raised the issue of religion, let me just educate you on that front just one bit. The lead petitioner in the Assam petitions is not a Hindu, is a Muslim by the name Mutahir Hussain, who is saying that I, as an Assamese Muslim, have a problem with the fact that all these people come into this country, they create law and order issues, and I get branded as a communal fascist, and my entire faith gets branded because of the acts of these people. This is a Muslim making this statement. It's not a Hindu making this statement. His name is Mutahir Hussain. You should ask yourself, why is it that every time we raise questions with respect to the identity of this country, we are hell-bent on denying the origins of this country, the traditions of this country, and where we come from? I just put 7 different questions to you as to which faith belongs to this country, which faith doesn't belong to this country, or which faith has not originated in this country. You have not been able to give an answer to the negative for each of these questions. What does that say? Constitution is not meant to erase history. Constitution is only meant to say Notwithstanding what may have happened in the past, people will be treated with equality and dignity. But that doesn't mean that we'll commit the same mistake for the next 1,000 years and pay the price for it. I think I've said enough.